class, and today we're going to look at app number 7, Action Movie Mad Lib. So if you've ever played Mad Libs, you're just completing the nouns, occupations, anything that the story requires with something that the user inputs, and it'll create a story with your wacky words, nouns, adjectives, whatever. So let's try this. Occupation, I'm going to put here maybe plumber. Noun, car, verb, run, body part, finger, noun, chair, historic monument, Eiffel Tower, verb, swim, noun, plane, adjective, green, and sweaty. Let's try these. So it creates our story with our inputted strings. So Jack Slater is an everyday normal plumber. One day a car explodes as he realizes that he's being chased by the government, who's trying to run him. While on the run, he teams up with an incredibly attractive girl who has an incredible finger. The duo decides to turn the tables by blowing up a chair that causes the local Eiffel Tower to explode. Then the bad guy's helicopter gets swimmed by a piece of plane, which shoots a fireball straight into the heart of the evil leader. Everything is green, and the two decide that such a sweaty ordeal has caused them to fall in love with each other. So yeah, it has inputted all our variables into the story. So we're going to create this. So first up, we have to download the document of the story. And we have some photos we can add to our Action Mad Lib. So I'm just going to stick with the story for now. Okay, and as always, we are going to create a new project. Single view app, app7 underscore my ID. And we can start by pimping out our view controller. So I'm going to go to main.storyboard, change the background to something reddish, maybe, and start adding labels for our labels. These are going to be static labels. Static meaning that they won't change. So Action Movie Mad Lib. I'm gonna center this, change its colors, and make it bigger, maybe bold. Then I'm gonna add a label for the things on top of the input text. So the first one's going to be occupation. I'm going to make it smaller, white as well, and maybe bold as well, semi-bold. Okay. I'm going to add then a text field as the same. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, centered, and distribute it on my view controller. I can copy and paste since I don't, without any consequences, as I don't have any connections as of now. And occupation, the next variable is noun, so I don't have to put the 1 there right now. So once I have my first ones, I'm going to copy it 5 times, as there are 5 variables, 10 variables. I mean, you know what? I'm going to make them closer to the text fields, and then I'm going to copy it. and the last one. Okay, so the first two are correct. Then we're gonna go to verb 1 and body part. Verb, body part. Then I'm gonna go to noun and historic monument. After that, verb and another noun. And lastly, two adjectives. Perfect. So lastly, I have to add another label, which is a label that's going to be changed once we create our story. I'm going to make it really big and change the font to something smaller. Make it left and color, let's put it white. Something way smaller, something like 10, 12, yeah. And I can start by deleting the default label text. And really important, I have to add many lines as my story is going to be quite long. Okay? Finally, the button. This button will run the code, creating our story. And then just name it enter. It's quite optional, but you can also add an image of our action man. I'm going to add it to the assets folder. And even an app icon for the explosion, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So to add an image, remember it's image view, click and drag. Which image is going to be action man. We're going to change it to aspect fill and make it way smaller as we don't have a lot of space here in our view controller. Okay, perfect. So we're done with editing and creating the visual aspect of our program. Now let's get into the coding. As always, below class view controller, I'm going to add a lot of spaces. And this is where our code is going to be laid out in. I'm going to create a connection for each of the text fields. So this one I'm going to name occupation. This one noun 1, as we have multiple ones. This one verb 1. There we go. Lastly, I have to connect my last label. I'm gonna name it label enter maybe. I'm gonna add some notes. So double dash adds notes, and these are the connections for input text fields. This is my connection label, final label or whatever, and finally connection enter button and code story as well. Remember, buttons are always action and UI button. I'm gonna name it button enter. Our story is gonna be inside these brackets, and so I can start by typing the story. So we're gonna change this label, maybe add a space here. This label enter. What are we gonna change of that? We're gonna change its text to our story. We can just start by copying and pasting our story inside quotes, as all strings are, and adding, concatenating our variables. So our first variable right here is occupation. So I'm going to go to occupation.text and always add the exclamation mark. And just going to continue this process for all the different variables and text. First is noun1.text. Oops. After noun1, we get verb1. After verb1, we get body part dot text. After body parts, then we get noun2. Then some more text, and then we get historical monument.text. Perfect. Plus then after historical we get verb2.text plus noun, I think it's 3 now. Yep. Text. After noun3, all the way over here, copy and paste it, plus adjective1.text and adjective2.text. Finally, our last string. Boom. Okay. So we have an error over here. Expected expression after operate. There we go. It was just loading. As you can see, I added the spaces in between the variables and even the periods. If I don't add that, the program will display a story that doesn't have spaces between the text and the historic fix and the next string. So there, as you can see, I had a historical instead of historic, and Xcode changed it for me, fixed it for me. So let's run our code. Oops, I have to change this to iPhone 8. It has to be the same one as this one. Let's run it. So I can start by closing this and heading over to my Blackboard, opening the app area, app 7 area. Just waiting for the emulator to run the code. Okay, now let's try see if it works. Plumber. Well, let's choose anything else. Let's choose consultant. What I am. Noun, bottle, verb, scream, body part, leg, noun. Let's say car. Historic monument. Let's put Golden Gate Bridge. Verb, let's put kick. Noun, let's put shoe. Adjective, let's put steamy and red. And there we go, there's a story. Let's read it. Jack Slater is an everyday normal consultant. One day a bottle explodes as he realizes that he's being chased by the government who's trying to scream him. While on the run, he teams up with an incredibly attractive girl who has an incredible leg. The duo decides to turn the tables by blowing up a car that causes the local Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, we have an error there. Bridge Historic Monument. So maybe let's try what we did there. There's an error. I don't know how that got in there. To explode. Then the bad guy's helicopter gets kicked. Verb 2. Another error. By a piece of shoe which shoots a fireball straight into the heart of the evil leader. Everything is steamy. Adjective 1. We've been copying the different words the user has to input from the word, I think. And the two decide that such a red ordeal has caused them to fall in love with each other. So, after I fixed my code, I can go ahead and take a screenshot. Close my simulator, save my project, close my project, and upload it. Well, first of all, let's compress it. I'm gonna go to my documents, app 7, it's this one, compress, put my screenshot there, and upload it. And that's it.